What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Diana for those who are new to my channel, and if you want to join the D fam, and just make sure to hit the subscribe button and join the family. Also give this video a big thumbs up because it's been a very requested video and also a very hard video for me to do. I've been very hesitant about doing this video because it's just very hard. So I know that a lot of you guys do know what happened, and sorry if I get a little shaken up or I get a little nervous while I'm talking, or I'm even talking about this topic. I just brings back the memories, and it's really hard for me to talk on this. But was not going to talk about this, but I realized that if I stay quiet, I'm not going to help anybody out there going through the same struggles, going through the same thing that I did when I was, going through this nightmare. And I know that when I was going through this, I was looking for answers left and right. I was on the internet, I was like Googling everything, I was on YouTube, I was trying to find answers to, help me out and let me know like if I was gonna make it, if I was not gonna make it. And let's just jump right into it because I don't want to confuse you guys on what I'm talking about. So last year of 2018, I found out I was pregnant with twins, and I found out I was pregnant December 12th, and it was like the best day of my life because it was unexpectedly. I did know that there was a big possibility of me being pregnant because I know when it happened, and I just didn't think I could get pregnant so fast like that. Long story short, I was pregnant, and I went to the doctors to confirm if I was pregnant, and they said yes. I got my first ultrasound, but you couldn't see anything. It was just like a little dot. Fast forward to the pregnancy, I started having complications where I was spotting, and it just became very unusual. So I went to the doctors because I was already like 4 or 5 weeks, and the baby was still very small to see. The fetus was very small to see. I was already around 8 weeks when I went to the hospital because I was like spotting and I was just concerned. So I was waiting, and I was just concerned, like, did I have a miscarriage or what's going on? Am I gonna have a miscarriage? So I got checked, and the doctor did an ultrasound, but technically the ultrasound text cannot tell you like what's going on. So I took a picture. I'll go ahead and insert a picture right here of how it looked like. And I was like, what is that? Like, it looked very off to me. So I showed it to my fiance, and he was like, that looks like, could it be that we're having twins? And it's crazy because we always talked about having twins, and we're like, imagine when we have kids, if we try and we end up having twins, that would be like the best because it's like, 2 at once, and we don't have to have any more kids. And it was just something that we never really thought would come true, because I mean, who just has twins? Like, it's very odd. So pretty much once I was waiting for the doctor to come and tell me the results, he said, you're having twins, right? And I said, no, I didn't know that. And my fiance and I were so happy, and we just couldn't believe it. Like, I looked at him and my eyes got so watery because I just couldn't believe it. It was like the best news. Like, it didn't feel real. Like, I was like, is this really happening right now? It says yes, there's 2 heartbeats, they're both doing fine, you're having twins. And I was like, oh my god. Like, so we continued with the pregnancy. We were so excited, that we were gonna have our babies. And throughout my whole pregnancy, I was at a high-risk pregnancy because I was having identical twins. So identical twins are more on the riskier side because I had only 1 placenta and 2 sacs, so pretty much they were sharing a placenta, so that was very, very risky. Throughout my whole pregnancy I was bleeding and spotting, and I would end up at the ER. And at 18 weeks I started having complications, and I ended up at the emergency room, and they said everything was fine, but I felt like everything wasn't fine. So the following week I went to see, sorry my dog, my high-risk pregnancy doctor, and when he did an ultrasound he seen that my baby had no amniotic fluid, which was baby A. At this point I was like, okay, well, what's gonna happen? And he said, I'm sorry to tell you, but I don't think, you know, I don't think he's gonna make it because he has no amniotic fluid. He still have a lot to go, and if something happens to baby A, more than likely something's gonna happen to baby B. So we recommend you think about it and try to, like, we can induce you or we could do something. Of course I was not gonna do that. I was not gonna kill my own baby knowing that they still have a heartbeat, knowing that, you know, everything is still fine with them besides them not having amniotic fluid. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna roll with it for a week and see what happens. So a week goes by, and you know, I was taking care of myself. I was in bed rest and I was at my house. I was sleeping and I woke up with a lot of cramping. And to me that was normal because I had already experienced cramping throughout my pregnancy. So I realized, like, you know, it's just something. So I kind of just lay down and I was trying to like move back and forth, and I finally realized that this was not normal. So I called my mom and I told her I just don't feel good. She says, okay, I'm on my way. And she said that because she already knew what was going on with my pregnancy. I was at a very high risk pregnancy. So a little, like probably like 10 minutes after I called her, I got up because I was gonna go to the restroom, and when I got up I just felt like a pressure, and I was like, no, please, like don't let it be you, please. And yeah, sure enough, I pulled down my pants and I was in labor. My baby A was coming out of me already. And at that point, sorry guys, I get very emotional. At that point I knew that like there was nothing that I could do to save him because he was too small. He was only 18 weeks. And I started screaming and I started yelling out for my fiance. He was downstairs sleeping, and I told him like to come up here, and he called the paramedics. The paramedics got there, and they got there really fast because I used to live in West Covina and I was down the thing. That's one thing that I really liked about living in West Covina, was that the hospital was literally like 2 minutes away. So they got there really fast, and they had me laying down on the floor, and they literally got me from upstairs and dragged me all the way down and took me to the hospital. When I got to the ER, they checked and they said, yes, she's in labor. And they did an ultrasound, and you know, they tried to have me deliver right there in the ER, which I didn't like the service at all. I think they sucked for a woman being in labor. So they finally checked me. They gave me a little bit of medication to calm down. Didn't work, and probably like 3 hours later they finally took me to a room. And they took me to a room and they said, we're gonna push. So I started pushing, and I think like after the 3rd push I finally delivered my baby. He wasn't even a pound and he was born dead. It was the hardest thing to do. It was just, sorry guys, it was the hardest thing to do, to deliver your baby so early and knowing that there was nothing else that you could do to save him. And like my whole world just like fell apart. Everything just, Like, I just felt like everything just fell apart. Excuse me. So what happened after was that, give me 1 second. What happened after was I delivered him, and they literally just cut his umbilical cord and they stuck it back in there. This is like too much info, but that's just the reality. They stuck it back in there, and they said they're a Catholic hospital, so they just pretty much said, like, because they knew deep down that my baby wasn't gonna make it, my baby B wasn't gonna make it. So I said, we don't induce people, we don't like try to get the other baby out, so we're gonna have to transfer you out to Pomona Valley. And I said, okay. So I was under a lot of pressure, I was under a lot of stress, and I pretty much just had a priest come over and they blessed my baby and they took him. I let them, you know, deal with it because he was so small. I don't feel bad because I was not going to be able to focus on a whole burial. I was not ready for all of that because I still had another baby inside of me, and I was not in the right state of mind. I was not physically fine to be out there even walking to try to coordinate things. So I just felt like, you know, I was not gonna like do anything else, so I just let them handle it. And I knew that I said goodbye and I, you know, blessed my baby, so I know that he left and he went to heaven, and I don't feel bad about like not doing any of that. So for any of you guys who want to judge me on that, it's totally fine. I know that I did the good thing, the right thing, and I don't feel bad about it. So after this, we pretty much, we went to, they transferred me over to Pomona Valley, and then I was there because I was at a high risk of getting an infection because I still had the other baby in me, and they just kind of stuck the umbilical cord up there. So what happened was they were drawing blood every single day. They had me on medication to prevent an infection. I was there for about a week, and they didn't really focus on my baby. And I told them, like, can you guys please check the baby because I feel concerned. They said, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. So finally they took me to do an ultrasound, and everything was fine with my baby. He was happy, he had his little hand, and it's like it looked like he was praying in my belly. And I did not lose hope, I did not lose faith. I left it all in God's hands, and every day I was praying because I was hoping for a miracle. I was hoping for this baby to survive. I was 20 weeks, I was 5 months with this baby, and that's why a lot of people are always kind of like, wait, how are they 2 weeks apart? Well, that's the reason why, because I delivered one on March 25th and one on April 10th. So after that, after a week went by, they sent me back home because they said that I was fine, and they just recommended that I was on high risk, you know, just taking care of myself, like a lot of bed rest, not doing anything. And that's what I was doing. Literally after I went home, like a day after, I started feeling very like anxious again. I was having pain on my belly, I was having cramping, I started spotting more. So I told him, I don't feel good, I don't want to risk it. So my fiance said, let's pack your stuff and let's take you to Cedar Sinai, which that's where I was supposed to deliver the kids. And we went over there, and they finally took me in, and they put me in another high risk pregnancy room. So initially they didn't want to take me in because I was only 20 weeks, so they didn't want to like really take me in, but somehow, some way it happened. So again, they were just focusing on me, not on the baby. And finally, you know, I was there, they were taking care of me. All the nurses were very nice. And again, I told them, can you guys check on the baby, because this day I was feeling very like I was in labor again. And they checked and the baby had no amniotic fluid. So right there, I was just like, I knew deep down inside that he wasn't gonna make it. But I, myself as a mother, I was not gonna give up on him because he was a fighter for 2 weeks. And shame of me, how shameful would I look just giving up on my own baby just because I know he wouldn't make it. I was dying in that hospital. I lost so much blood. The doctors, you know, said you're gonna need a blood transfusion. I got some people to donate. I got my best friend to donate. I got my fiance's brother-in-law donated, and it was getting to that point. I was running in a very high fever and it was just very bad, but I just didn't care about getting an infection. I didn't care about anything. I just wanted to save my baby. I was willing to give my life for him. And April 10th, I was in labor all day, and they said, you know what, we can either induce you or we can suck him out of you. And I said, no, you're not gonna do that. They kept pressuring me to do that. I said, no, I'm not gonna do it. Because I knew that if he still had a heartbeat, I was nobody to go and make that call and kill my baby. I was not gonna do that. I left it in God's hands and I started praying. I said, God, you are our king, you are the creator of us, and you make the call, because I don't want to be the one to make the call. When they checked me, I was not in labor. I was not dilated, not even one. I was not dilated at all. As I prayed, I told them, okay, I'm ready. Can you guys take me to the labor and delivery room? And they said, yeah. And I started going into labor by myself. And it was like the worst ever. The nurses told me, how do you do it? You know that your pain level is like 10 times worse than a normal delivery because of your infection. And they kept insisting for me to get the epidural, and I said, I don't want the epidural. I don't want it. It got to the point where I couldn't take the pain. I was dying in fever. I had a very high fever. They would put cold cloths on my head, and I would just burn them up so quick. So quick they would get burned up. And my mom was there, my dad was there, and my fiance were there. They were there to support. I kept moving back and forth because I couldn't take it. It was the pain was very, very severe. I can't even explain how bad the pain was. I feel like my back was just like stretching and like opening up like that. Like my whole hips and everything was just like opening up. I couldn't take the pain, and the doctor said, please sweetie, just get the epidural. I said, I don't want it. It got to the point where even my mom started telling me to get the epidural, and even my dad told her, don't be telling her to get the epidural. If you didn't get it, don't be telling her. So it was just a big argument. So I was just taking the pain and sucking it up, and then I was laying down and I told my fiance, can you check, because I feel like I'm delivering him. And I felt pressure. So he checked and he's like, oh yeah, she's delivering. So yeah, the baby was coming, and all it took was like 3 push, and he came out, and he was alive when he came out. He was the most beautiful baby ever. And the reason why I say that he was the most beautiful baby ever, they were both beautiful, but my first son my first son Andre was born first, so he was a little bit smaller, so he was more red. My baby Alexander, which was baby B, was more developed, and I was able to see him, I was able to hold him, and it was such a beautiful feeling to be able to hold him one last time, and to know that I was willing to go above and beyond for him. And honestly, when he was born, I didn't cry. I was more excited. I was more happy that I was able to go through this whole process and trusting God, because it was him who made this whole decision, and it was him who helped me throughout this pain. Once I said goodbye, I had him for 3 to 4 days. Once I said goodbye, it was very painful, and it was hard. It was hard. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I know that a lot of you girls out there are probably going through the same thing with me. Whether it is that you had a miscarriage, whether you're going through something similar where your water broke early and you don't know what to do, and the doctors are pressuring you to do something that you don't want to. The purpose of this video is to share my story and to let you know that you're not alone, and that if you trust and believe in God, just trust and believe in him. So if the doctors are telling you otherwise, you go with whatever you feel in your heart, and don't let people tell you otherwise. And you're not alone, and I know it's hard, and it will be hard. Trust me. It's been over a year, and I also wanted to make this video because my babies just turned 1, Andre and Alexander, and they're celebrating in heaven, and I wanted to dedicate this video to them because of them. I strive every day to become a better person. I strive every day because I know they're looking down at me, and I just want to make them proud. I just want to make them proud. And for all you ladies out there, I promise you that everything will be okay. I know that the healing will take a long time, because it will. I still haven't healed. I haven't. I get my breakdowns here and there. I get very emotional. I think about them every day. I dream about them. And they'll never be replaced. Ever. So I'm gonna go ahead and enter some memories of my babies and some memories of my gender reveal. And just dedicate this video to them because they are my world, and even though they're not here with me, I feel their presence, and I feel their love when I'm lonely or when I feel that I'm going through something. I feel them, and I know that they're in a better place. So I'm sorry that I got very emotional. It's just this topic was very hard to talk about, and I know that a lot of you always wanted to know what happened exactly with my pregnancy, because I was already 5 months pregnant, and I only needed like 3 more months, or 3 to 4 more months, because the doctor had told me that they were gonna come early. So I hope that I can help some of you out there with my story, and just know that you're not alone, and don't give up. Don't give up, because everything happens for a reason. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on my next video.
What does perfect even mean? there